as we're tracking at this hour, 15 persons killed in bus accident in Canada. Another 3 killed as tornado hits U.S. state of Texas. Plus, Cyclone Biparjoy finally makes landfall with devastating effects. Hello and welcome to the World News. I'm Esther Mwachuku. A bus carrying seniors to a casino collided with a semi-trailer truck at a highway intersection in a rural part of the Canadian province of Manitoba on Thursday, killing 15 people and injuring 10 more. An official with the Canadian Mounted Police said the bus was carrying 25 people and authorities in Manitoba were deploying all their resources to the scene. 10 people were taken to hospitals. Television broadcasters aired images of what looked like a large van or bus smoldering in a ditch near a transport truck with a smashed engine on a road. The pavement was littered with debris, including broken glass, a large bumper, and what looked like a walking aid. 7 blue and yellow tops were stretched out. An image from video shows emergency services at the scene of a fatal collision between a small bus carrying seniors and a semi-trailer truck in Calgary, about 105 miles west of Winnipeg in Manitoba, Canada, June 15, 2023. The crash scene was in Calgary, a city 105 miles west of Manitoba's capital. A family support center was set up at a Lutheran church in Dauphin, Manitoba, for relatives. Police said the people on the bus were from Dauphin and the areas around it. Flags have been lowered to half-mast at the Manitoba legislature. A spokesperson for the Sandhills Casino in Calgary said the van had been scheduled to arrive there later in the day. The senior community is extremely tight-knit in the city of around 8,600 people, and the center is sometimes like a second home for them. The crash brought back memories of the 2018 bus crash in the neighboring province of Saskatchewan that killed 16 people from a minor league hockey team. Meanwhile, a tornado tore through the Texas town of Perryton on Thursday, killing 3 people. Dozens were also injured with widespread damage as another series of fierce storms carved its way through southern states. The National Weather Service confirmed that a tornado hit the area shortly after 5 p.m. on Thursday. Local officials have confirmed 2 persons missing. City Fire official Paul Dutcher said at least 1 person was killed in a mobile home park that took a direct hit from a tornado. South Korea's military declared on Friday that the U.S. Navy has deployed the nuclear-powered submarine USS Michigan on its territory. The submarine arrived in South Korea's port city of Busan a day after North Korea resumed missile tests in protest of the U.S.-South Korea live-fire drills. The USS Michigan is one of the biggest submarines in the world, and its arrival in South Korea is the first of its kind in 6 years. The 18,000-ton vessel is around 557 feet long and can be armed with 150 Tomahawk missiles with a range of about 2,500 kilometers. South Korea's defense ministry disclosed that the deployment is aimed at strengthening the special warfare capabilities of Washington and Seoul to cope with North Korea's threats. The move is part of the Washington Declaration signed by the United States and South Korean leaders in April to counter Pyongyang's growing nuclear threats. As a follow-up to the agreement, the 2 nations will hold a high-level meeting on cybersecurity in Washington next Tuesday. The 2 nations have a deal to enhance the regular visibility of U.S. strategic assets in the Korean Peninsula. Now, the U.S. Senate confirmed along party lines on Thursday Nusrat Jahan Chaudhry to serve as the first Muslim woman and the first Bangladeshi American to serve as a federal judge. The Senate narrowly approved Chaudhry's nomination in a 50-49 vote, with Democratic Senator Joe Manchin siding with all Republicans in voting in opposition. She will now be a U.S. District Judge for the Eastern District of New York. Chaudhry previously served as a legal director at the American Civil Liberties Union Rights Group after serving as deputy director at the ACLU's Racial Justice Program. A brief biography posted on the union's website says she has led efforts to combat racial profiling and the targeting of people of color for surveillance. She graduated from Columbia University, Princeton University, and Yale Law School. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer hailed Chaudhry's confirmation, saying he was proud to recommend her to President Joe Biden. Manchin, the sole Democrat to oppose her nomination, said in a statement issued on Wednesday that some of Ms. Chaudhry's previous statements call into question her ability to be unbiased towards the work of our brave law enforcement. Now, the long-anticipated Cyclone Biparjoy has made its landfall, knocking out power and throwing shipping containers into the sea in western India on Friday, before aiming its lashing winds and rain at part of Pakistan that suffered devastating floods last year. A man and his son died trying to save their livestock in Gujarat state, where the storm came ashore late Thursday after more than 180,000 people took shelter in the two communities, or rather the two countries. The storm made landfall a night earlier, packing wind speeds and gusting through the coastal ridges of western Gujarat. Pakistani authorities were on high alert after evacuating 82,000 people. The full extent of the damage in Western India was not immediately known. In addition to the two deaths, 3 people were injured in a nearby district. About 100,000 people who were evacuated in Western India have been temporarily relocated to relief camps. The storm did other damage upon landfall, including uprooting trees and electricity poles. Officials in the coastal town of Manvi said heavy winds threw some shipping containers into the sea at Mundra Port, one of India's largest ports. The cyclone was expected to weaken later Friday and move towards the neighboring Indian state of Rajasthan on its way to southern Pakistan, which is still recovering from deadly flooding from last year. People in that region lined up to receive food donated by charities, aid agencies, and local authorities. Pakistan's National Disaster Management Agency said the cyclone was 125 kilometers south-southwest of Khati Bandar, a port in flood-hit Sindh province. The Gujarat government said it deployed 184 rapid action squads to rescue wild animals and clear fallen trees at a national park home to nearly 700 Asiatic lions. Wind-driven rain pelted southern coastal towns in Pakistan for its second day on Friday. The cyclone was expected to cause flash floods in southern Pakistan. The World Health Organization said on Thursday it is supporting Pakistan's efforts to deal with the impact of the cyclone. Pakistan's government and local aid groups delivered free food and drinking water to displaced people. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharaf has said his government was protecting those in the storm's path. On Thursday, UNICEF warned that more than 625,000 children were at immediate risk in Pakistan and India. A 2021 study found that the frequency, duration, and intensity of cyclones in the Arabian Sea increased significantly between 1982 and 2019. And experts say the increase will continue making preparations for natural disasters more urgent. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister of India will begin a tour of the United States with a visit to the United Nations headquarters in New York on the 21st of June. The visit comes sequel to an invitation by President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill. Narendra Modi will thereafter travel to Washington, where he will receive a ceremonial welcome at the White House on the 22nd of June and meet President Biden to continue the high-level dialogue. President Biden and the First Lady will host a state dinner in honor of the Prime Minister the same evening. Now, apart from the United States, Prime Minister Modi will also visit Egypt during his foreign next week. At the invitation of the congressional leaders, including Speaker of the House of Representatives Kevin McCarthy and Speaker of the Senate Charles Schumer, the Prime Minister will address a joint sitting of the U.S. Congress on the 22nd of June. The next day, he will be jointly hosted at a luncheon by U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. In addition to the official engagements, the Prime Minister is scheduled to have several curated interactions with leading CEOs, professionals and other stakeholders. He will also meet members of the Indian diaspora. The Prime Minister will subsequently travel to Cairo for a state visit. The visit is being undertaken at the invitation of Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, which he extended to Modi in January when he visited India to attend Republic Day celebrations as a chief guest. This will be the Prime Minister's first visit to Egypt. Apart from his talks with President Sisi, Modi is likely to interact with senior dignitaries from the Egyptian government, some prominent Egyptian personalities, as well as the Indian community in Egypt. Relations between India and Egypt are based on ancient trade and economic linkages, as well as cultural and deep-rooted people-to-people ties. During the state visit of President Sisi in January, it was agreed to elevate the relationship to a strategic partnership. Pope Francis has been discharged from a Rome hospital a little more than a week after he was admitted for abdominal surgery to repair a hernia that was causing him pain. The pontiff had been admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital on June 7 for laparotomy and abdominal wall surgery. He was placed under general anesthesia for the 3-hour operation, which his press office said took place without complications. Papal spokesperson had announced a day prior that the Pope would be discharged on Friday morning. After he left the hospital, the Pope visited Rome's Marian Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, where he prayed. He had visited the church after being hospitalized for 3 days in March for bronchitis and following his July 2021 colon surgery. Now, due to his surgery and subsequent hospitalization, all of his appearances have been suspended until Sunday. The pontiff is scheduled to travel to Portugal from early August, where he will participate in the World Youth Day. And that is a wrap on the World News right here on VOP TV. My name is Esther Mwachuku. To subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP TV Live, that is at Voice of the People TV. To have yourselves a good day. Up next is Be a VOP Business Show.